The morning sun cast long shadows across the manicured lawns of Kensington Palace as adjusted her running shoes one final time. The charity relay event had been her idea, a way to raise funds for children's mental health services while showing the royal family's commitment to active participation in worthy causes. What she hadn't expected was the competitive fire that now burned in her chest as she watched her brothers-in-law warming up on the opposite side of the starting line. Prince William stretched his hamstrings with the methodical precision of someone who had maintained his fitness through years of royal duties and occasional pickup football matches. His movements were controlled, efficient, betraying nothing of the determination new lay beneath his composed exterior. He caught her eye across the grass and offered a small smile that she recognized as his game face from their private tennis matches at Hall. Prince Harry bounced on his toes nearby, his energy barely contained as he chatted animatedly with the event organizers. His military training showed in his posture and the way he surveyed the course layout with tactical awareness. Had seen that same focused intensity during their charitable work together, but never directed at her in competition. The thought sent an unexpected thrill of anticipation through her. The relay course wound through park, incorporating obstacles that would test different aspects of fitness and teamwork. Each team member would complete a section before passing a ceremonial baton to their partner. His teammate for the day was Olympic gold medalist Jessica Hill, whose presence had generated considerable media attention. William had partnered with former England rugby captain Chris, while Harry teamed with Paralympic champion David Weir. Media representatives clustered behind barriers, their cameras already clicking as the royals prepared. Smoothed her athletic wear, conscious that every photograph would be scrutinized by fashion commentators and fitness enthusiasts alike. The outfit had been carefully chosen to project both accessibility and style while remaining practical for the physical demands ahead. "Nervous?" Jessica asked, appearing at its elbow with the easy confidence of someone accustomed to high-stakes competition. "I've seen your training videos from the palace gym. You're in better shape than most people realize." Appreciated the reassurance, though she kept her expression neutral. The months of preparation had been intense, combining her existing fitness routine with specific relay training under Jessica's guidance. Palace staff had initially been skeptical about the time commitment, but had insisted. If she was going to compete publicly against William and Harry, she intended to give her absolute best effort. The course marshal approached with clipboards and timing equipment, his official demeanor barely concealing excitement at overseeing such a unique event. "Your Royal Highnesses will begin with individual warm-up runs of the first section, then proceed to team practice runs. The formal relay begins at 11:30 sharp." Nodded, her mind already visualizing the route she had memorized through countless study sessions with aerial photographs and video footage. The first section required a sprint across open ground, followed by a series of hurdles that would test agility and coordination. She had practiced the sequence until it felt automatic, but competition nerves were different from training routines. William jogged past during his warm-up, close enough that she caught his familiar scent of aftershave and the subtle tension in his breathing that indicated serious preparation. Their eyes met briefly, and she saw acknowledgement there of the stakes involved. This wasn't just about charity anymore, though the cause remained paramount. Family pride and personal achievement had elevated the stakes beyond mere fundraising. Harry's warm-up run was characteristically explosive, his military fitness evident in every stride. He attacked the hurdles with controlled aggression, clearing each obstacle with room to spare. Made mental notes about his technique while maintaining her own steady preparation rhythm. Intelligence gathering was part of competition, and she intended to use every advantage available. The assembled crowd began to grow as word spread through social media and local news coverage. Families with children pressed against the barriers, many wearing T-shirts supporting the mental health charities that would benefit from the day's fundraising efforts. Waved to them during her own warm-up run, drawing cheers that boosted her confidence and reminded her of the event's larger purpose. Jessica rejoined her as they completed their individual preparations. "The boys look serious," she observed with amusement. "I don't think they expected you to bring this level of intensity to a charity event." "They should know better by now," replied, allowing herself a small smile. "I don't do anything halfway." The comment was true in ways that extended far beyond athletics. His approach to royal duties had always emphasized thorough preparation and genuine engagement. Whether visiting hospitals, launching patronage initiatives, or representing the monarchy at state functions. She brought the same meticulous attention to detail that she was now applying to this relay competition. Prince Charles arrived as the warm-up period concluded, his presence adding another layer of significance to the proceedings. He greeted each competitor with characteristic warmth, but noticed his particular attention to the course layout and timing arrangements. Even charitable sporting events carried weight when they involved his sons and daughter-in-law under public scrutiny. "Magnificent turnout," Charles commented to as they stood together watching the final preparations. "Your initiative has certainly captured public imagination, though I suspect the competitive element may have surprised even you." Laughed softly, recognizing the gentle perceptiveness that had helped Charles navigate decades of royal life. "The cause matters most, but I won't pretend the competition isn't motivating. William and Harry have never seen me in this context before. Indeed, they may find today rather educational." The course marshal's whistle signaled the end of warm-up time, and competitors gathered at the starting line for final instructions. Positioned herself next to Jessica, feeling the familiar pre-competition tension that sharpened her senses and heightened her awareness of everything around her. The grass felt springy beneath her feet, the morning air carried the scent of nearby flowers, and she could hear individual voices from the crowd despite the general hubbub of excitement. William and Harry flanked her on either side, their presence both comforting and challenging. These were the men she had shared countless family dinners with, laughed with during private moments, and supported through public difficulties. Today, they were opponents in a context none of them had experienced before. The countdown began, and felt her elevate in response to competitive anticipation. Months of preparation had led to this moment, and she was ready to discover what happened when family dynamics met athletic competition under the watchful eyes of the public and press. The starting signal echoed across Park and exploded into motion, her months of training crystallizing into pure, focused energy as she sprinted toward the first obstacle with everything she had to give. Legs pumped with mechanical precision as she closed the gap on the first hurdle, her breathing controlled despite the explosive start. Peripheral vision told her that William had taken an early lead, his longer stride giving him an advantage over the initial sprint section. Harry matched her pace to her left, his military conditioning evident in his economical running form and steady rhythm. The first hurdle approached faster than training had prepared her for, the wooden barrier looking somehow higher and more imposing under competition pressure. Planted her lead foot with confidence born from hundreds of practice repetitions, driving her knee upward and extending through the obstacle with fluid motion. She landed cleanly and immediately resumed her sprint pace, gaining half a step on Harry and closing slightly on William. Crowd noise swelled around them as spectators realized the race was genuinely competitive rather than a ceremonial jog. Children pressed against the barriers, their excited shouts mixing with adult cheers and the clicking of camera shutters. Felt their energy feeding her own determination as she approached the second hurdle with growing confidence. William's form remained textbook perfect, his aristocratic composure intact even as sweat began to darken his running shirt, but noticed a slight tightness in his shoulders that suggested he was working harder than his expression indicated. The observation provided a small psychological advantage as they approached the course's technical section. The third and fourth hurdles came in rapid succession, testing coordination and stamina simultaneously. Preparation paid dividends here as she maintained her rhythm while both brothers showed minor adjustments to their technique. Harry clipped the fourth hurdle with his trailing foot, a minor contact that cost him momentum and allowed to pull ahead into second place. The transition zone loomed ahead, marked by bright orange cones and staffed by officials with stopwatches and clipboards. Could see Jessica warming up in preparation for the handoff, her Olympic experience evident in her relaxed confidence and systematic preparation routine. The sight of her teammate reinforced determination to deliver a competitive position for the second leg. William reached the transition zone first, smoothly passing the ceremonial baton to Chris with practiced efficiency. The rugby player accepted the handoff and immediately accelerated into his section of the course, which featured rope climbing and balance beam obstacles designed to test upper body strength and coordination. Arrived at the transition zone 3 seconds behind, a gap smaller than she had dared hope during her most optimistic training projections. She placed the baton firmly in Jessica's waiting hand, their eyes meeting briefly in silent communication about the competitive situation and tactical opportunities ahead. "Beautifully run," Jessica said as she adjusted her grip on the baton. "Stay close and watch how this unfolds." Harry completed his handoff moments later, and David Weir immediately began his assault on the technical obstacles with the determined efficiency that had made him a Paralympic legend. Found herself in the unique position of spectator to a three-way battle between world-class athletes representing different sporting disciplines. Chris' rugby background served him well on the rope climb, his powerful shoulders and arms making quick work of the vertical challenge. But Jessica's overall athleticism and technical precision kept her competitive through the balance beam section, while David's upper body strength and tactical awareness allowed him to minimize time lost during the more challenging obstacles. Jogged alongside the course to maintain her warm-up while watching the second leg develop. The competitive dynamics fascinated her as much as the athletic performance. Each athlete brought distinct advantages to different obstacles, creating a constantly shifting battle for position that kept the outcome genuinely uncertain. William stood beside her, equally absorbed in watching his teammates' progress. "Chris looks strong on the climbing sections," he commented, his tone carrying the satisfaction of good tactical planning. "Jessica's gaining ground on the balance work," replied, pointing to where her teammate had closed the gap through superior technique and confidence on the narrow beam. The observation proved accurate as Jessica completed the balance section half a second ahead of Chris, with David maintaining contact despite the challenging nature of the obstacles for wheelchair navigation. The course designers had done excellent work creating challenges that tested different athletic strengths while remaining accessible to Paralympic competition. Prince Harry joined them as the second-leg competitors approached their transition zones. His warm-up run had clearly been more intense than necessary, suggesting nervous energy about his team's position and his own upcoming performance. "David's made up good time on the technical stuff," he said, watching his teammates' final approach. "The next section will suit you," replied diplomatically, though she was thinking about how the upcoming obstacles might favor different competitive strengths. The third leg featured long-distance running through varied terrain, including hills and water hazards that would test endurance and adaptability. Jessica completed her leg with a slight lead, handing the baton to with an encouraging pat on the shoulder. "2 seconds ahead," she whispered quickly. "The rugby players strong but tiring, the Paralympians the real threat over distance." Accepted the baton and immediately settled into her long-distance pace, a rhythm developed through months of training runs through the varied terrain of Kensington Gardens and Park. This was her strongest discipline, the section where her preparation and natural aptitude would be most severely tested against the brothers' competitive instincts. Chris began his pursuit immediately, his rugby fitness translating well to the sustained effort required for the distance section. But noticed his breathing was already labored from his previous exertions, while her own felt controlled and sustainable for the challenges ahead. David Weir presented a more serious threat, his racing wheelchair perfectly suited to the course terrain, and his tactical experience evident in how he positioned himself for the upcoming hills and turns. Respected his capabilities while trusting her own preparation as she settled into the rhythm that felt most natural for the distance ahead. The course wound through a section of park that had been temporarily closed to normal foot traffic, creating an isolated environment where the sounds of effort and equipment became more prominent than crowd noise. Could hear her own breathing, the steady impact of her feet on varied surfaces, and the mechanical sounds of David's wheelchair as he maintained contact with the leading group. The first significant hill approached after 10 minutes of steady running, its gradient testing the different approaches each competitor brought to the challenge. Had practiced hill running extensively, understanding how to maintain pace through varied elevation while conserving energy for subsequent obstacles. Her preparation paid dividends as she crested the hill with her lead intact, though Chris had closed the gap slightly through determined effort. Water hazards appeared ahead, shallow crossings that required careful footing and quick decision-making about pace and technique. Approached the first crossing with confidence, having practiced similar obstacles during training sessions that sometimes drew curious glances from palace staff, unaccustomed to seeing her covered in mud and water. The cold water shocked her system momentarily as she splashed through the crossing, but her preparation held true, and she maintained her momentum through the challenge. Behind her, she could hear Chris negotiating the same obstacle with the methodical approach she expected from his rugby experience. David's approach to the water hazards showcased the adaptability that had made him a Paralympic champion. His racing wheelchair handled the crossings differently but effectively, his upper body strength and technique allowing him to maintain competitive pace despite the challenging terrain. The second half of the distance leg opened through more varied terrain, testing endurance and tactical awareness as the course wound between trees and over rolling hills that offered different opportunities for gaining or losing position. Felt strong and controlled, her breathing steady despite the accumulated effort of 20 minutes of intense competition. Her lead remained intact as the third transition zone appeared ahead, where William waited with the focused intensity she recognized from their most competitive private moments. The sight of him prepared for his leg of the relay added another dimension to her determination as she approached the handoff that would determine the race's final dynamics. His approach to the third transition zone felt like the culmination of months of preparation and years of competitive instincts finally unleashed in public view. Her legs carried her forward with mechanical precision, despite the accumulated fatigue from 25 minutes of sustained effort across challenging terrain. The sight of William waiting with focused intensity added layers of motivation that surprised her with their complexity. She placed the baton in William's hand with more force than necessary, their fingers touching briefly in the exchange. His skin felt cool against her overheated palm, and she caught a glimpse of determination in his eyes that matched her own competitive fire. 4-second lead, she whispered quickly, though they both knew the margin was thin enough to be meaningless against the challenges ahead. William accepted the baton and immediately accelerated into his section, which featured the course's most technically demanding obstacles. Rock climbing walls, rope traverses, and precision jumping challenges had been designed to test upper body strength, coordination, and mental focus under pressure. His athletic background and competitive nature made him dangerous in this environment. Bent forward with her hands on her knees, breathing deeply as she watched her husband attack the first climbing wall with systematic efficiency. His technique was sound if not spectacular, each movement calculated to conserve energy while maintaining steady progress upward. The months of preparation had clearly included specific training for these challenges. Chris appeared at the transition zone moments later, his rugby conditioning evident in his controlled breathing, despite the sustained effort of the distance leg. His handoff to Harry was smooth and professional, the two men exchanging brief tactical information before Harry launched himself at the technical obstacles with characteristic aggression. David Weir's arrival completed the third exchange, and found herself watching a fascinating tactical battle unfold among three very different approaches to the same challenging obstacles. William's methodical precision contrasted sharply with Harry's explosive intensity, while their Paralympic opponent brought technical expertise and upper body strength that made him genuinely dangerous on these particular challenges. The first climbing wall revealed each competitor's strengths and weaknesses under pressure. William maintained steady progress through systematic route finding and efficient movement, his longer reach providing advantages on some holds while requiring more precise technique on others. Harry attacked the same wall with military-trained intensity, his powerful shoulders and aggressive approach allowing him to make up time through pure determination. Their Paralympic opponent presented the most interesting tactical challenge, his racing wheelchair requiring creative problem-solving to navigate obstacles designed primarily for traditional athletic competition. But his upper body development and technical expertise kept him competitive through adaptation and superior strength-to-weight ratio on the climbing sections. Jogged slowly to maintain her cool-down routine while following the technical section's progress. The competitive dynamics fascinated her as much as the athletic performance, watching how different training backgrounds and competitive temperaments influenced approach and execution under pressure. "He's climbing well," Jessica commented, appearing beside as they watched William navigate a particularly challenging traverse section. "Better technique than I expected for someone without specialized training." "He's been practicing," replied, thinking about the early morning sessions she had occasionally glimpsed in their private gym. "All of us have been taking this more seriously than anyone realized." The observation was accurate beyond athletics. What had begun as a charitable fundraising initiative had evolved into something more complex, testing family dynamics and personal pride in ways none of them had anticipated. Found herself genuinely uncertain about how she felt about defeating William and Harry versus losing to them, a psychological complexity that added unexpected layers to an already intense competition. Harry's progress through the climbing section showcased his military training's emphasis on obstacle navigation under stress. His approach was more aggressive than William's, accepting higher risk in exchange for potentially greater speed. The strategy appeared to be working as he closed the gap through several challenging sections. The rope traverse section created the day's most visually dramatic moments, as all three competitors worked their way across suspended obstacles, requiring significant upper body strength and coordination. William's longer reach served him well here, allowing him to make progress with fewer hand movements and less energy expenditure. Noticed media photographers had positioned themselves for optimal angles on the rope traverse, recognizing the visual appeal of watching members of the royal family engaged in genuinely challenging physical activity. The images would undoubtedly appear in newspapers and magazines worldwide, carrying messages about royal accessibility and athletic competence that extended far beyond simple charitable fundraising. Harry's military background proved most advantageous on the rope work, his training in similar obstacles evident in his smooth technique and confident movement across challenging sections. Watched him close the remaining gap with William through pure tactical superiority and superior preparation for this specific challenge type. The technical section concluded with precision jumping obstacles that required accuracy and timing rather than pure strength or endurance. Found herself holding her breath as William approached the final sequence, knowing that his performance here would determine the competitive situation for her final leg of the relay. William's jumping technique was adequate but not exceptional, his approach conservative enough to ensure completion while sacrificing potential time gains for reliability. The choice reflected his personality and position, prioritizing certain progress over risky speed gains that might result in costly mistakes. Harry completed the technical section moments behind William, his aggressive approach having nearly eliminated the time deficit through superior obstacle technique and tactical preparation. The margin between them had shrunk to less than 2 seconds as they approached the final transition zone where Jessica waited for the concluding leg. Their Paralympic opponent completed the technical challenges with adaptations that showcased remarkable creativity and strength, maintaining contact with the leading teams despite obstacles designed for different athletic contexts. Felt genuine respect for the tactical intelligence and physical capabilities required to remain competitive under such circumstances. The final transition zone buzzed with tension as competitors approached for the last exchange. Felt her heart rate elevate in response to competitive anticipation, knowing that everything would be decided in the concluding section that would test pure speed and determination over relatively short distance. William appeared first, his breathing controlled despite obvious fatigue from the technical challenges. Their baton exchange felt charged with significance beyond athletics, a moment where years of partnership and competition crystallized into pure shared focus on the task ahead. "Close race," William said simply as he placed the baton in her hand. "Give it everything." The words carried weight beyond tactical instruction, acknowledging both the competition's intensity and their partnership in something that had become more meaningful than either had anticipated. Accepted the baton and immediately began her acceleration into the final section, feeling the accumulated pressure of months of preparation and family pride driving her forward with focused determination. Harry completed his exchange with David moments later and could hear his teammate beginning pursuit as she settled into her rhythm for the race's concluding battle. Everything they had worked toward would be decided in the next 10 minutes of pure competitive effort. His legs found their rhythm immediately as she accelerated into the final section, muscle memory from countless training sessions taking over despite the pressure and fatigue from 45 minutes of intense competition. The leg wound through Park's most scenic sections, a deliberate choice by organizers to provide spectacular backdrops for media coverage while testing pure speed and determination over manageable distance. Her lead felt substantial but fragile as she settled into race pace, knowing that David Weir possessed tactical experience and finishing speed that could eliminate any advantage through superior technique and race management. Behind her, she could hear the mechanical sounds of his racing wheelchair beginning pursuit. The rhythmic efficiency that had carried him to Paralympic glory now focused on closing the gap before the finish line. The course stretched ahead through tree-lined paths and open meadows that would provide spectators with excellent viewing opportunities, while challenging competitors with varied surfaces and subtle elevation changes. Had run these paths countless times during training, but competition added intensity and urgency that transformed familiar terrain into something more demanding and significant. Crowd noise swelled as they passed the first spectator area. Hundreds of supporters who had gathered to witness the conclusion of a charity event that had evolved into genuine athletic competition felt their energy feeding her own determination as she maintained pace through the first mile of what would be a decisive test of preparation and competitive will. Her breathing remained controlled despite the accumulated effort from her earlier leg, testament to months of endurance training that had sometimes surprised palace staff with its intensity and dedication. The fitness work had been necessary not just for this competition, but for the demanding schedule of royal duties that required sustained energy and focus over long periods. David's pursuit was methodical and determined, his racing wheelchair handling the varied terrain with adaptations that showcased both technical expertise and strategic racing intelligence. Could hear him maintaining contact without closing ground, suggesting he was packing himself for a finishing kick rather than trying to eliminate her lead through sustained pressure over the full distance. The tactical complexity of their battle fascinated even as she focused on maintaining her own pace and position. Paralympic racing had taught David patience and precision in race management, while her own preparation had emphasized sustained effort and tactical awareness developed through months of studying different competitive scenarios and strategies. Media helicopters appeared overhead as they approached the halfway point of the final leg, their presence adding another layer of significance to what had begun as a simple charity fundraiser. Images of their competition would appear in newspapers and broadcasts around the world, carrying messages about royal athletic capability and competitive spirit that extended far beyond the immediate context of fundraising for children's mental health services. Stride remained smooth and efficient as she navigated a series of gentle curves that tested tactical positioning and pace judgment. Her peripheral vision told her that David had closed the gap slightly, but remained far enough behind that her lead was intact if she could maintain current pace through the challenging sections ahead. The course's most demanding climbing section appeared ahead, a sustained uphill stretch that would test accumulated fatigue against determination and tactical preparation. Had practiced similar climbs extensively, understanding how to adjust pace and breathing to maintain efficiency while preserving energy for subsequent challenges and the final sprint to the finish. Her approach to the hill reflected months of specific training, shortening her stride slightly while maintaining turnover rate to preserve power output over the extended climb. The technique felt automatic despite competition pressure, muscle memory combining with tactical awareness to optimize performance under increasingly demanding circumstances. David's pursuit intensified on the climbing section, his upper body strength and technical expertise allowing him to maintain higher speed over terrain that challenged running efficiency. The gap between them narrowed perceptibly as they worked through the sustained uphill challenge, adding urgency to tactical calculations about pace management and finishing strategy. The hilltop provided brief respite before a technical descent that demanded careful footing and tactical awareness about maintaining speed while avoiding costly mistakes that could eliminate months of preparation in a single moment. Her approach was aggressive but controlled, using her training to maintain pace while managing risk over challenging terrain. Spectator density increased as they approached the final mile, with organized cheering sections and media positions creating an atmosphere of significance that elevated the competition beyond its charitable origins. Could hear individual voices calling her name and encouraging her effort, energy that fed her determination as she prepared for the race's concluding battle. The course opened into Park's most scenic section for the final stretch, providing dramatic backdrops for photographs and television coverage while testing competitors with the psychological pressure of increased visibility and spectator energy. felt the crowd's enthusiasm combining with her own competitive fire as she maintained pace toward the finish line that was now visible in the distance. David made his final tactical move with half a mile remaining, his racing wheelchair acceleration testing, response to pressure, and her ability to match increased pace over the concluding distance. The challenge was exactly what she had prepared for during training sessions that had sometimes pushed her beyond what she thought possible. His response was immediate and decisive, tapping into reserves of speed and determination that surprised her with their depth and power. Her stride lengthened slightly as she increased turnover rate, accessing finishing speed that had been developed through months of interval training and tactical preparation for exactly this scenario. The gap between them stabilized as they entered the final quarter mile, both competitors giving everything they possessed, while tactical awareness and race management remained crucial factors in determining the ultimate outcome. Felt her body responding to demands that tested every aspect of her preparation and competitive character. Prince Charles appeared alongside the finish line area, his presence adding another dimension of significance to the competition's conclusion. Caught a glimpse of him watching intently, recognizing the focused attention he brought to moments involving family achievement and public representation of royal capabilities. William and Harry had positioned themselves near the finish line as well, their earlier competitive intensity transformed into support for his concluding effort. The sight of them waiting reinforced her determination to deliver a performance worthy of the preparation and expectations that had elevated this charity event into something more meaningful and complex. The finish line approached with maintaining her narrow lead, every stride requiring conscious effort against accumulated fatigue, while tactical awareness remained essential for managing David's persistent pursuit. Everything would be decided in the final 100 meters of pure competitive effort and determined finishing speed. The final 100 meters stretched ahead like an eternity compressed into pure competitive intensity, every stride demanding conscious effort against accumulated fatigue while maintained tactical awareness of David's persistent pursuit. Her breathing had become labored but remained controlled, testament to months of preparation that had tested her limits and expanded her understanding of personal capability under pressure. Crowd noise reached crescendo levels as spectators realized they were witnessing a genuinely contested finish rather than a ceremonial conclusion to a charity event. Could hear individual voices calling encouragement, their energy combining with her own determination as she accessed reserves of speed that surprised her with their depth and availability. David's racing wheelchair remained within striking distance, his Paralympic experience evident in how he managed his effort distribution and tactical positioning for maximum finishing impact. Respected his capabilities while trusting her own preparation as she lengthened her stride and increased turnover rate in response to his final challenge. The mechanical sounds of David's wheelchair pursuit provided rhythmic accompaniment to her own footfalls and controlled breathing, creating an intimate soundscape of pure competitive effort that blocked out everything except the immediate demands of maintaining pace and position over the crucial concluding distance. William and Harry stood together near the finish line, their earlier competitive fire transformed into focused support for his effort. The sight of them waiting reinforced layers of motivation that went beyond simple athletic achievement, encompassing family pride and personal validation through demonstrated competence under scrutiny. Prince Charles watched from his position near the finish area with the concentrated attention he brought to significant family moments and public demonstrations of royal capability. Caught a glimpse of his expression, recognizing appreciation for effort and determination that transcended athletic performance to encompass broader themes of dedication and excellence. Jessica waited at the finish line as well, her Olympic experience allowing her to read the tactical situation and appreciate the quality of performance being demonstrated by both competitors. Her presence reminded of the partnership aspect that had made this competition possible while adding professional validation to efforts that had tested every aspect of preparation and character. 50 meters from the finish, felt her body responding to demands that required everything she possessed, while tactical calculation remained essential for managing the concluding moments effectively. Her stride mechanics held true despite fatigue muscle memory from countless training sessions, combining with competitive determination to maintain efficiency and power output. David made one final acceleration attempt, his upper body strength and tactical experience creating a surge that tested its ability to respond under extreme pressure while maintaining form and efficiency over the crucial final meters. The challenge was exactly what months of specific training had prepared her to handle. Its response was immediate and decisive, accessing finishing speed that had been developed through interval sessions that sometimes left her wondering about the boundaries of physical and mental capability. Her competitive fire, carefully controlled throughout the race, finally found full expression as she matched David's acceleration while maintaining superior positioning. The finish line banner became clearly visible ahead, its bright colors and official timing equipment representing the culmination of months of preparation, and the resolution of competitive tensions that had elevated a charity event into something more significant and meaningful for everyone involved. 20 meters from finish, and David were separated by less than a meter, their battle having created exactly the kind of dramatic conclusion that would generate media attention and public interest far beyond typical charitable fundraising events. Both competitors were giving absolutely everything they possessed in a display of athletic determination and competitive character. Crossed the finish line with her lead intact, collapsing forward immediately as the combination of relief, exhaustion, and competitive satisfaction overwhelmed her system. Her legs trembled from accumulated effort while her breathing came in deep, controlled gasps that gradually restored oxygen levels and began the recovery process. David finished moments behind, his professional grace evident in how he handled the conclusion of intense competition while immediately extending congratulations and respect for his performance. His Paralympic experience provided perspective on the quality of effort both had demonstrated throughout the concluding battle. William reached first, his arms steadying her as she struggled to remain upright while her body processed the aftermath of sustained maximum effort. Their embrace lasted longer than protocol typically allowed, acknowledging shared experiences and mutual respect that transcended simple family relationships to encompass genuine athletic achievement. "Incredible race," William said quietly, his voice carrying admiration that felt more meaningful than typical post-competition pleasantries. "You earned that finish completely." Harry arrived moments later, his congratulations equally sincere and appreciative of performance that had exceeded his expectations and challenged assumptions about its competitive capabilities. The three of them stood together as media photographers captured images that would represent the event's success in bringing genuine athletic competition to charitable fundraising. Prince Charles approached as breathing returned toward normal, his expression combining paternal pride with appreciation for effort and determination that reflected well on family values and public representation of royal capability. "Magnificently done," he said simply, the words carrying weight that acknowledged both athletic performance and broader significance. The charity event had raised substantial funds for children's mental health services while generating media attention and public engagement that would benefit the cause long after the immediate competition concluded. Felt satisfaction knowing that personal achievement had combined with meaningful charitable impact to create something genuinely worthwhile. Jessica's professional assessment confirmed what already knew from her own sense of accomplishment. "That was serious racing," the Olympic champion said with genuine respect. "Training paid off completely, and you handled tactical pressure like someone with much more competition experience." Awards ceremony preparations began immediately, though knew the real victory was personal growth through preparation and performance under pressure rather than any external recognition or comparison with others. The months of training had expanded her understanding of personal capability and competitive character in ways that would influence future challenges. Media interviews followed, providing opportunities to emphasize the charitable purpose while acknowledging the genuine competitive element that had made the event more engaging and successful than anyone anticipated. Felt comfortable discussing both athletic preparation and fundraising goals, the combination representing authentic personal growth through challenging experiences. The event's success exceeded all projections for charitable impact and public engagement, demonstrating how genuine competition could enhance rather than distract from worthy causes. Reflected on lessons learned about preparation, determination, and family dynamics under pressure while beginning to consider applications for future endeavors. Walking back toward the palace with William and Harry felt changed by experiences that had tested and expanded her understanding of personal capability and competitive character. The charity relay had achieved its intended purpose while providing unexpected opportunities for growth and achievement that would influence her approach to future challenges and opportunities for meaningful contribution.